the First Citizens Bank, account number 2696950, Marval Road Branch, in the name of the Incorporated Trustees of the Anglican Holy Trinity Cathedral Restoration.
Parents, teachers, kids, communities, it's finally here! The 12 and Under show is back, and we have some amazing things in store for you. We have top-class artists, producers, radio personalities, and more who will be mentors. Spectacular prizes provided by our sponsors, including cash, trips to Barbados, Grenada, and Disney World. Yes, Disney World! And much, much more. Join us on TTT and TTT Live online every Sunday at 5 p.m. to see who will be the next 12 and Under star.
Oh gosh, Uncle Tim Tim, I can't wait to get to know what it takes to become a star.
Follow our social media pages at 12N Under on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for more information.
TTT wants to hear from you. What would you like to see? Join our online survey and tell us. Click on ttt.live/survey or scan the QR code on the screen to provide feedback on our television programming. We can't wait to hear from you.
Good morning to you, Trinidad and Tobago. 9 minutes after 6 o'clock, and you know, the carnival is over. It's the 31st day of October 2022. Tobago Carnival is what I'm talking about. I'm Rokas. Good morning. Good morning, Kimberly.
Good morning, Rokas. How are you?
I'm good.
I love that we're both in royalty colors this morning.
Well, you
love
know,
it,
we decided to step out on them.
Coming out to the Tobago Carnival.
Coming out to the Royal Weekend.
You understand? The Royal Weekend that we just had. Yeah, it's nice to be here. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. It was a good weekend. It was a good weekend. Where can we begin? But first,
where can we begin?
Before we do the wrap-up of Tobago, let me just warn everybody. I don't know if when coming down the road this morning, the road's so wet, but when I was coming to work this morning, the roads are wet. We haven't received an adverse yellow alert for the weather, but we do have a riverine warning currently in effect, and that is going to end tomorrow around 10 a.m. So the Met Office has issued a riverine flood warning. Rivers across all major districts, northern, central, and southern Trinidad are currently either spilling in some parts or close to capacity. So please be careful when you're coming on the road. When the rivers spill, what that means is that water is on the roadways. You don't want to be speeding at that point in time. So remember, we are under a riverine alert. So just be careful when you're traversing the black carpet. I know children are going to school, everybody is going back out to work, but just be careful on the roadways today and for the rest of the week.
Yeah, and I know that we might think that just because there's not much rain, it mightn't flood that badly, but it accumulates over time, and that's why we have the riverine alerts that go out. Because up to last night, I saw down in Chaguanas, there was some major flooding happening, and it wasn't like there was a massive set of rain. It was just constant little bits of rain, you know what I mean? So just be careful, be vigilant, and pay attention to when you're driving, especially this morning. But one of the things that happened this week, I know we're gonna talk about
Tobago. We're gonna
get there. We're gonna get there, I promise. But let me say congratulations going out to Mr. Dylan Carter. He won yet another gold medal at leg 2 of the World Cup, the Swimming World Cup that's going on currently in Ontario, Canada. And it's actually his 6th gold medal in the World Cup. So Dylan Carter, thank you very much for your service.
Of course.
Keep shining. That one was in the butterfly, I believe it was.
That was the butterfly, the 50-meter butterfly, and that one was last night, because I know up to, I think it was Friday or Saturday, we were at 5 gold medals.
He just had to show off.
He really showing off, and I saw the alert last night that he got up to 6. So here we have a look at the race. I'm hoping this is the one, this is the butterfly,
freestyle.
Or this is freestyle?
That's freestyle.
Okay, this is the freestyle. This may have been the 5th one that he won, but like we said, this is the 5th one, but last night he got another one, which is up to 6 now. So congratulations going out to you, Dylan Carter. We're also so very proud of you, and good luck in all the other events as they come up. So one more congratulations. Robert Nelson, Lord Nelson, was officially conferred with an honorary Doctor of Letters on Saturday for his contribution to culture. He would have received the letters during the Faculty of Humanities and Education and Sport. They would have had their graduation ceremony over the weekend, and so they gave Lord Nelson his Doctor of Letters.
You know who else got an honorary doctorate this weekend?
Who?
Rosalind Gabriel.
Ah, nice.
So let me take a moment to say congratulations to you as well, Rosalind Gabriel, and everybody else, all the students from UWE who graduated this weekend especially. We say congratulations to you because, of course, you know, all that hard work that you've been putting in, and it definitely pays off. So let me say congratulations. And if you have, you know, family and friends who would have graduated this weekend, be very proud of them, because trust me, it could be very difficult at times, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm reading here that, well, Lord Nelson and, of course, Rosalind Gabriel would have been 2 of the 5 to receive an honorary doctorate. So there are 3 more. So, of course, congratulations going out to you as well. This is what we talk about, Rockers, giving people their flowers while they're here. You know what I mean? It might just be a doctorate.
Even at 90-something.
It might be something like that, but still, yeah.
Even at 90-something.
Better late than never. Better late than never. So, congratulations going out again. All right.
Let me say congratulations to all of the bands, the promoters, the DJs, the masqueraders, the tourists,
the
everybody
artisans who came out and showed off and showed what Tobago
drivers
has to offer.
The police, everybody who came out.
The patrons who kept it safe.
Yes.
Now, I'm not sure if there are going to be reports coming up, but I haven't heard any reports of any sort of, you know, violence or anything happening in Tobago.
Tobago is love.
This is the, I think what we just saw as well was the Grenadian contingent with their spice mass, and this is pretty mass yesterday in Scarborough.
And the other one was Juve before.
Yeah, look at, Lego the rope. Lego the rope. And there they are crossing the stage. Aye. What I saw as well, a lot of tourists came in.
Yes.
Did you see that?
Yes, I did.
And I heard accents. I heard Swedish. I heard like they were from Europe and US and different parts of the world.
There were lots of US, the diaspora, what I call the diaspora citizens, they came in a lot. Because on the plane that I was on to go across, there were a lot of people who were clearly foreigners, but with Caribbean roots.
Yes.
Like you could tell them.
You could tell. They have a little bit of the accent that's mixed in with the American accent. So
Trini accent, slight in them.
Yeah, you can
but
hear
it just goes to show though that people were willing to come out, whether it was for the Tomac Festival, whether it was for the carnival itself, people came out and they were willing to support. Of course, we saw the woes that took place with the Burna Boy. You see, Burna Boy didn't make it to Dominica
so
Saturday
people were wondering if it is he stayed in Trinidad.
No, he was in Curacao.
He was in Curacao.
He was in, so after Tobago, actually, the Saturday morning. Was it Saturday morning? Friday morning when I went to the airport, right after the show.
Right.
I saw his band pull up in the maxi and they were leaving.
Because they will normally go before him. Huh?
Exactly. So the band pulled up and they were leaving. So they left on I saw them come out of a maxi and everything and they left.
Right.
So I know that they had a show in Curacao the next day.
Yeah.
So they went to Curacao.
Yeah.
But then they were supposed to go to Dominica after. The band left to go to Dominica, but he didn't.
It was rain, right? I think like there was.
They didn't say what the reason was. They just said he was delayed.
I read something saying that it was rain, but you know. Big up to the people who came out and support Tobago Carnival as well, despite the rain.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, I was at the Burna Boy concert, right, on Thursday. And Rockers, there was a point in time, I believe, on everybody's minds, you were thinking, go home or stay for the African Giant. Like, you had to weigh the options. And I think at the end of it, everybody was just like, you know what? I'm going to get wet, but everybody? I'm going to see him.
Not everybody.
Some people left. Okay, me.
Because
when I decided, I made the decision, I'm going to get wet because I have to see this guy.
So that night, I had to go get the second outfit that I wore, the one I wore on Friday, mine and Anchor's, right?
Right.
And so I left kind of late in the night. The designer was tailoring it a little bit late in the night, so I left late. And when I was coming back, I was seeing like maxi loads of people going the opposite direction, going back to the general.
Concert?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Going back to the general admission parking.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's going on?
Yes.
And then I realized people were deciding, I'm not going through the rain. Like, and some people did stay and they braved it. And, you know, I think they got their payoff at the end because he did come out on stage and he did, you know, deliver. From all the video accounts that I saw.
Listen to me. And he came out and he was ready. He came out in full tracksuit, full hoodie, full everything.
I wonder if that's why he come out late.
But
they had to go and open my store to get the tracksuit.
But the amazing thing though was, all right, so of course we would have had our local performances. Nyla, Ade Sugar.
They performed?
Yeah, Nyla performed.
Right.
I know that Ade Sugar. Right. She was scheduled to perform. I'm not sure if he did.
No,
but
I think
people,
none of the Tobagonian artists
so
got a chance to perform.
Because when I was walking, I was like, Tobago, I love you. And she was now coming coming off the stage, so she performed, and so we walked in or whatever, drizzle. Okay, everybody's like, okay, we can handle this. Umbrellas galore. There's a sea of umbrellas there, right? Umbrellas galore. Cool. And then as the night started to progress, of course, Sunny is hyping up the crowd, and we're getting ready for the African Giants. And so we're waiting. And Ruckus, this heavy rain out of nowhere.
No, it came out of the sky, not nowhere.
Understand, we were cool with the drizzle, who have their umbrellas, who have their coats, and we're waiting. And I mean, heavy rain, like non-stop rain, right?
And thunder rain.
So everybody's like, okay, two things are going to happen. He's either going to perform or they're going to make an announcement. But one of the things I must say is that I know the organizers had advertised this is the rain or shine event because they would have been monitoring what was happening, and they did want people, even if it's rain, it's going to happen. But with so much rain, we're still wondering what's going to happen. Now you're under a tent, you're soaking, you're seeing people walking out of the venue because some people left.
Yeah.
And then he came on stage, African Giant came on stage, Ruckus, and the amazing thing happened. It just slowed to a drizzle. And everybody puts away their umbrellas, and for like 45 minutes to an hour, it was just this amazing. I mean, the man come up with drum sets and had drummers and stuff kind of thing, you know. And it was just this amazing 45 to 1 hour of Afrobeat session. It was amazing.
Let me ask you this though. You said that the promoter said it was a rain or shine event.
Yeah.
Do you think that the logistics were in place to make it a rain or shine event?
Well, I don't know about logistics in place, but I know that it was almost as if they put up a disclaimer saying that this is what's going to happen.
I know, but I'm asking from your experience
from my experience, I think it is what it is. I don't know about logistics. I don't think about that or whatever.
I'm asking as a patron, not somebody who knows the logistics, but somebody as a patron. Did you feel as though, to me, whether rain or shine, you were fine?
Whether rain or shine, I was fine, yes, because they would have advertised whether rain or shine, it was going to happen anyway. Now, some people made the argument that it should have been at Shore Park, that it should have changed the venue.
I ain't even talking about that side of it. I just mean from, like, for example, you know, when Marshall does the Marshall Monday in the stadium, they put flooring everywhere. So that whether it rains or not, there's no mud, there's none of that happening. There's flooring so that you know you're secure. Was that things like that in place?
They didn't have flooring. At least the section that I was in, there was no flooring. But I do know that I don't really... When I go to a concert, it's not about logistics for me, really. And I'm looking to see if a tent go up here or if that is whatever. I'm going for the experience. So maybe other people might have had things to say about the logistics in terms of the way that the event was probably laid out or the venue was laid out. But for me, I did know what I was going to expect. It was raining all week. It was raining that day. So you had a decision to make.
Mud and everything?
Yeah, I actually changed my outfit to go down there because I knew it was going to be mud. There were some people who were in boots. I think some people thought like me. So they were like, listen, it has been raining whole day. It has been raining all week in Tobago, in fact. So I don't know what kind of venue I'm going to be there. Let me change my clothes. People were in boots. They had on their jeans. I mean, everybody had umbrellas. You know, so people came prepared to get rain at the venue.
Saying, like, one of the comments that I got, one of the instant feedback I got, like the following day was that, you know, the VIP section, for example, had flooring, but to get to the flooring, you had to walk through mud.
Oof.
So that kind of defeats the purpose. You understand what I mean? So when I say logistics, I was just talking from a customer experience perspective. Like, you're the customer, you paid to go to see a show, and at the end of the day, you figure out what the experience is as you're walking in, and was it comfortable for you? And I mean, I don't know. I've heard mixed reviews about it. A lot of people complained about some of the logistical planning in place or lack thereof. Especially considering that they say it's a rain or shine event. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. I don't really, like, whenever I go to event, especially like concerts, like international concerts and stuff, I'm really going for the person. Logistics and stuff is secondhand. But we are going to take a break and be right back. We also have to jump into Juve. We have to jump into Pretty Mass. We have to jump into Pan and Powder. So we have to jump into so many things that happened in Tobago Carnival this weekend. Were you in Tobago Carnival? Because guess what? We are also going to be opening up our lines pretty soon to hear exactly how your weekend was. So you're on the Now Morning Show. I'm Kimberly. We also have Ruckus. We're going to take a quick break and be right back. Stay with us.
When you start to whine, girl, you look so sexy. When you shake behind, you'll fall already.
The best birthday gifts are at thebesttoys.com. Shop for the best brands you love at the best prices. Like VTech, Leapfrog, Fisher-Price, Play-Doh, Hot Wheels, Barbie, Cocomelon, LOL, Baby Alive, Crayola, Lego, Nerf, and remote control vehicles, kids learning desks, and educational toys. Ride-ons, bikes, drones, science toys, and board games and puzzles, and a wide range of baby items. We also have the best devices for school, like laptops, the Amazon Fire 7 tablet, the Amazon Fire 8, 10, and Kids Edition tabs, as well as cases and accessories.
Visit us on the first floor of Movietown, Port of Spain, or Forces flagship McBean. Or shop online now at thebesttoys.com. No credit card required. free delivery throughout Trinidad and Tobago on orders over $400. Cash or links on delivery. Order via call or WhatsApp 32DBEST. And remember, we have DBEST toys at the best prices.
Calling all micro and small business owners, including maxi and taxi drivers. Get to know Nedco. Now is the time to reduce your cost by getting the CNG Eco Driver Loan from Nedco. Contact Nedco today and start the switch to CNG to save big on your fuel bill. Quick approval, low monthly installment. For more details, contact our branch nearest to you or visit nedco.gov.tt or our Facebook account for details. Normal lending criteria apply. The National Entrepreneurship Development Company Limited, Nedco, supporting, sustaining, succeeding, an agency of the Ministry of Youth Development and National Service.
Trinidad and Tobago, since we first met, you knew it was love at first sight. We value and cherish the same things. We promised you the country's widest and most affordable mobile network, and we've kept that promise to you, our greatest supporter. We've grown your trust by ensuring you're always connected. From TNT's first fiber to the home network, to true 4G LTE connectivity nationwide, and all for you. No matter how far you roam, no matter how you choose to be connected, Digicel is always close by, building a foundation, or even when it's just to say,
"What's the scene?" You put on real weight, boy.
I am so proud of you.
As our network has grown, so has our offering to you, and we've always invested in you. That's why our greatest achievement will always be you, our customer. Digicel, we're better together.
TTT News, delivering more news more often to more people. Follow us on social media at TTT Live Online. Log on to www.ttt.live.
Whether wet or dry season, hazards can strike without warning, causing you or your family to quickly evacuate. You may not have the time to grab the essentials. Be sure to have your grab-and-go bag in easily accessible locations. Here are the top 7 categories that should be included and tailored to your family's need. 1. Non-perishable food items, water and utensils. 2. First aid kit and extra medication. 3. Personalized items. 4. Change of clothing and comfortable footwear. 5. Copies of important documents such as birth papers and certificates. 6. Cash and small bills. And 7. Tools, safety items and equipment. For more information on how to be ready, visit odpm.gov.tt. A message from the ODPM.
Welcome back inside the Now Morning Show. 25 minutes after 6 o'clock. I hope that you are able to get on your way if it is that you are getting ready to leave home or all that good stuff. But, you know, it's the rainy season and, of course, we're battling the rain, and every single year we need to make sure that we take the current flu vaccine. This morning, here to chat about benefits of the influenza vaccination. Kimberly has your spotlight on now.
Now, an estimated 75,000 vaccines were ordered for the current flu season, and health officials from the Ministry of Health are advising members of the population to get vaccinated. Joining me to talk more about the benefits of the influenza vaccine is Manager Expanded Program on Immunization, Nurse Grace Sukchan. Grace Sukchan, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on Now.
Good morning. It's wonderful to be here this morning.
Now, Nurse Sukchan, before we get into the discussion about the benefits of the influenza vaccine, I wanted us to just find a difference between the two, because some people may feel they have the flu and they have the influenza and vice versa. So what's the difference between the flu and the cold, the common cold?
So influenza and common cold are both, firstly, contagious respiratory illnesses, but they are caused by different viruses. So, for instance, the influenza is caused by the influenza virus, whereas the common cold are caused by rhinoviruses, para-influenza viruses, and of course, seasonal coronaviruses.
Right. And are the symptoms similar, or do you have different symptoms for each?
They do have similar symptoms, but it can be difficult to differentiate sometimes between them based on symptoms alone. In general, influenza, however, is more worse. The symptoms are more worse than the common cold, and symptoms typically become more intense. And in general, it comes on more abruptly than the common cold. Influenza is worse in that you have more than just runny nose or stuffy nose, which is common with your usually common colds. Persons complained of lethargy, body pains, severe headaches. Some people, they can develop problems such as pneumonia, bacterial infections, and a lot of persons end up in hospital as well with the influenza.
Wow. Now, with the influenza, do you also have the symptoms such as fever and coughing, and even that kind of raspy cough where something is on your chest?
That's right, and that's what you can develop bronchitis or pneumonia, but you have a more heaviness on the chest area. The cough, it's sort of more painful than if you have the common cold, which is normally you might get a mild fever, runny nose, your sinus may become a bit blocked, but then it normally clears up. You can get up, you can go to work, you can go to school with a common cold. But with influenza, you feel ill, your body feels weak.
And nurse, why is it important for us to get the influenza vaccine, especially at this time?
So influenza vaccine, what it does is that it may not prevent you totally from getting the virus, but what it does is that it helps your body build a stronger immune response so that you don't get severely ill.
Okay. And also, because I know that the Minister of Health would have had a press conference last week, Wednesday, and just to confirm the figures, Nurse Sukhchand, do you know how many people have been admitted to the hospital, or even how many deaths we've had for the year thus far as a result of the flu?
Right. So, firstly, let me say so far that we've had, as of October the 21st, we had over 564 cases of the influenza, and out of that we had, yes, unfortunately, we had 3 deaths. But please be mindful, those deaths are were in the elderly persons, and these were persons who also had chronic diseases, or as we called, comorbidities.
Right. So then,
and hence the reason why that's a high-risk group.
Right. Because I was also going to ask you as well, the high-risk group. So we have the elders in there. Who else might be a bit more vulnerable to this virus?
So on our list of high risk, we have children who are from 6 months to 5 years of age. Of course, we have our pregnant mothers. These are this category, we need to be very careful that we don't want them getting the influenza virus during this time. Their body is more susceptible, and they could get seriously ill and end up with premature labor and complications. We also have, of course, our healthcare workers. We advise our healthcare workers because they are at risk. Everyone that comes into a health facility that may present with the influenza virus can pass it on to the healthcare workers. And all persons living with chronic disease conditions are also a high-risk group.
Right. And in terms of the health centers where people can go to get the vaccine, can you share that with us as well?
Right. So the vaccines are available at most health centers across the country. The list has been published in the press and are available on the Ministry of Health website and, of course, our social media pages.
Right. Now, going back to the different strains, Nurse Sukhchand, can you share with us exactly the different strains of the influenza virus?
Right. So the vaccine we have covers for 3 strains in particular. We cover for the H1N1 and then the A3N2, which is a prevalent strain that is now circulating, and of course a B influenza.
Right. And I know that I think it was Minister Dayal Singh who said there's also a strain A. Is it that which causes the COVID-19 virus? Is that the one you mentioned before with the H1N1?
Right. So, yes, the type A is the N1 and of course the A3N2. So there are 2 type A in the vaccines that we brought that, that was prepared for us. And then of course there's 1 B strain, the influenza B strain. And these are the 3 most common ones that are circulating.
Now, since it causes the COVID-19 virus, there may be some people who might think about taking the flu vaccine rather than the COVID-19 vaccine. I mean, how do you respond to that one?
Okay, so let me first say that when we say that the common cold are caused by seasonal coronaviruses, these are viruses, you have over 100 of them. But this is not the same as the SARS-CoV-2. Let me again emphasize, it is not the same as the COVID virus that is circulating now and the ones that we've been vaccinating the population against. There's a difference between seasonal coronaviruses. We have over 100 of these viruses that circulates and can cause respiratory symptoms. People can develop the common cold with it, but it is not the same as the SARS-CoV-2 virus that we have been vaccinating that caused the pandemic.
So then, Nurse Suchan, is it possible for somebody to get the COVID-19 vaccine and then right after get the flu vaccine, or how will it work?
Right. What we advise persons to do is to take the influenza vaccines either 2 weeks before or 2 weeks after you would have taken the COVID-19 vaccines.
Right.
But we don't advise that you take it together.
Right. And then this will also apply as well when we're talking about the booster shot or the second shot of the vaccine, the COVID-19 vaccine?
Correct. That is correct. However, the influenza vaccines can be taken with your routine vaccines.
Okay.
When we talk about your hepatitis vaccines, tetanus vaccines, you can take your influenza vaccines at the same time with those other vaccines. But it is not advisable to take it together with the COVID-19 vaccines.
Now, Nurse Suchan, I know that some people may have, they would have had actually allergic reactions to the COVID-19 vaccine. Will we see these sort of same symptoms when they take the flu vaccine as well?
Right. So what is normally reported for a period of time in terms of side effects with the influenza vaccines, most persons usually complain a bit of redness and discomfort in the arm where they got the vaccines. You may have a mild swelling in that area. Some persons complain of feeling a little soreness in their throat, maybe very rare a mild headache. But in terms of having severe side effects, that has not been reported. However, we advise persons, if you've had influenza vaccines and you reacted to that vaccine, please let your healthcare provider know what sort of reaction that you had when you took the previous influenza vaccines. And then that the healthcare provider will determine whether you can have the vaccines or not.
Right. Now,
but generally, our response has been well.
Right. Now, going back to that high-risk group, particularly pregnant women, is it a certain time that they are advised to take the vaccine? First trimester, second trimester, or it doesn't really matter once they get protected?
That's right. It does not matter what stage of the pregnancy you are at, but you are advised to take the vaccine.
Right. Now, I know that CMO had mentioned last week that I think the flu season usually runs from October to May, but what was happening was that he was seeing a lot of flu cases in the population from since August. I mean, is there any reason why we may have been seeing cases earlier than was expected?
Right. So what the vaccine covered for is the Northern Hemisphere. We have to be mindful there's another hemisphere, the Southern Hemisphere, that we don't really normally see. But we also have to be aware of the fact that we have international travel. So persons can come into the country and bring the virus into the country.
And in terms of just...
may be a reason why.
Right. Now, Nurse Suchan, while you are promoting the benefits of the vaccine, there are people who will still be like, you know what, I am going to take my vitamin C's, I'm going to get that extra exercise. Is there anything you can tell the population in terms of at least protecting themselves from the influenza virus?
You know, during the past 2 years when we were fighting the pandemic, you would have realized that we hadn't seen or heard about the influenza. In fact, we were not testing positive cases. Even though we were doing tests, they were not picking up positive cases. And this is because we were very mindful of the health precautions. We were wearing masks, we were washing our hands, we were sanitizing, and that's how you can stop the spread of any virus, whether it is the SARS-CoV-2 virus or the influenza virus or even the common cold. So we advise persons to continue being vigilant out there. Wear your mask if you want to. It's up to you. It's optional. You can do that. Wash your hands. Sanitize as much as possible. Again, we also advise persons cough and sneeze in a disposable tissue or in your elbows, the crook of your elbows, so that you don't cough on person and pass the virus on. And of course, if you fall in any of the high-risk categories that were listed, we strongly advise you to go to your health center and get the vaccines, because that is an additional form of protection for you and for your loved ones as well.
Now, do you see any problems with the elderly who are at those elderly homes? Is it going to be a problem to vaccinate them as well?
Absolutely not. What we normally do, and the RHAs normally do that, is that they form a team and they visit all these homes, because these are high-risk persons, and they normally go every year, visit these homes and, ensure that persons are vaccinated. In fact, some of the nurses, apart from the routine vaccines, will visit homes where you have persons who are unable to come to the health facilities and give them the vaccines.
Right. And it's just going back to that population, or the 3 people who would have died. Do we anticipate any more deaths? I mean, is it that if the flu is very, very, is it that it's really going to affect that high-risk group so much that we may see more deaths coming down to the end of the year or even at the end of the flu season?
Well, every death is really a tragedy. We should have, try to avoid it as much as possible. We don't ever anticipate that. We try as much as possible to avoid this. And this is why we are asking the population to be extremely vigilant. Even if you're out there and you have elderly parents or persons with a chronic disease or who are immunocompromised for whatever reason, we encourage them to get vaccinated. In terms of estimating that, yes, we'll have a high number of deaths or more deaths, it's really hard to predict that. We really hope that is not the case. And this is why the Minister of Health, the Chief Medical Officer, came, on television and was letting the population know this is what is happening. Please be aware that the virus is it is spreading. Unfortunately, we had 3 deaths, but if we vaccinate the high-risk group, then we don't propose to see or expect to see more deaths.
I know that 75,000 was procured at least for this flu season. Do you anticipate that it's going to be used? Or, given trends that we would have seen in the past, is it always a good turnout for the population to use all 75,000?
That's a very good question, and from the pattern we've observed in the population, usually when we have deaths, once people start reporting deaths, we find persons, they rush to the facilities and they're anxious to get the vaccines. During the COVID pandemic, we still ordered vaccines. And the uptake was extremely low because people, again, was vigilant. We're not hearing about the influenza circulating. And the vaccines, we had a lot of vaccine that was unused. Now that we are seeing that the cases are rising with respect to influenza viruses, and, we know that the reported cases are high. We expect the demand to be there. And that is why we ensure that all health facilities, the health centers and even the hospitals have vaccines for their high-risk population. Nice. So we expect a good turnout.
Right. And finally, Nurse Suktran, anything you want to add before we close?
I just want to say that, we battled for 2 years the pandemic. The Ministry of Health worked really hard to ensure that, the population had access to the vaccines. We are asking persons again with the influenza vaccines, don't wait until you hear of someone whom got the vaccines and end up in hospital seriously ill or, God forbid, die. Please, if you are one of the high-risk categories mentioned here. Again, let me emphasize children 6 months to 5 years of age, healthcare workers, pregnant women, persons who have any form of chronic disease or you're immunocompromised. Please go out there, get your vaccines, protect yourselves, protect your loved ones. Again, remember the public health measures. Do not go around coughing and sneezing on persons. Use disposable tissues. If you have virus, any form of virus, it is advisable to wear your mask because you do not want to contract anything else as well that is circulating out there. I think people have to be mindful of the fact that we're still getting the COVID-19 cases. So you may think you have the common cold, and it could very well be that. So you need to be mindful and be vigilant. You could have the influenza virus and not know. It also means you can pass it on to other persons. So again, please be very careful out there.
Nice. Ms. Sukchan, thank you so much for joining us on the Now Morning Show and just reinforcing the importance of getting that influenza vaccine. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you so much.
And that was Manager Expanded Program on Immunization at the Ministry of Health, Nurse Grace Sukchan, just sharing the importance of getting the influenza vaccine. Remember, the flu season has started. It's from October to May. So to protect yourself against, you can either get the vaccine or ensure that you are washing your hands and being, socially distant. You're on the Now Morning Show. We're going to take a break and be right back. Stay with us.
Oh, I've got this feeling to high-five the sun, dance in the rain, and have my scoop of fun. I'm on my way to flavor my day with something new, and I've got room for you. Let loose and live a little, get close and share a little, give in and taste a little. You'll fall in love with Creamery novelties. Love life and live a little. I get close and share a little, give in and taste a little. You'll fall in love with Creamery novelties.
Enjoy new Creamery novelties. Live a little.
Calling all micro and small business owners, including Maxi and taxi drivers. Get to know Nedco. Now is the time to reduce your cost by getting the CNG Eco Driver Loan from Nedco. Contact Nedco today and start the switch to CNG to save big on your fuel bill. Quick approval, low monthly installment. For more details, contact our branch nearest to you or visit nedco.gov.tt or our Facebook account for details. Normal lending criteria apply. The National Entrepreneurship Development Company Limited. Nedco. Supporting, sustaining, succeeding. An agency of the Ministry of Youth Development and National Service.
Every day, we aspire to be better at what we do. Deliver more news more often to more people. We are your news team, reporting on the people, events, and issues that affect your life. TTT News, first at 6:30 p.m. TTT News, committed, accurate, relevant. TTT News, nightly at 6:30.
The best for your baby is at thebesttoys.com. From the best strollers, car seats, baby carriers, high chairs, booster seats, rockers, jumpers and bouncers, walkers, baby blankets, feeding accessories, bathtubs, gyms and playmats, playpens, cribs, baby swings, changing tables, diaper bags, clothing and accessories, and the widest range of educational toys. We carry Infantino, Dr. Brown, Avent, Graco, Chico, Fisher-Price, VTech, Leapfrog, Disney Baby, Delta Children, Medela, and Twist Shape.
Visit us on the first floor of Movietown, Port of Spain, or Horses flagship McBean. Or shop online now at thebesttoys.com. No credit card required. Free delivery throughout Trinidad and Tobago on orders over $400. Cash or links on delivery. Order via call or WhatsApp at 332-BABY. And remember, we have the best for your baby at the best prices.
alone. Tongue was like a battle zone, but nowadays and so I am all chucked.
46 minutes after 6 o'clock. So happy to have you here with us on the Now Morning Show. I hope that you've recovered from your weekend. If you had a busy weekend, a hectic weekend, I hope that you're up and you're ready to go and find out about your role in the public law enforcement. Good morning, Inspector Michelle Lewis. How are you?
Good morning to you, sir. Morning
Good morning,
to you,
Inspector.
and
How
to
are
your
you?
Viewing and listening public. Yes, the topic this morning is the role of the public in law enforcement.
Right. I mean, I feel like it's, I don't know, it's clear, right, that we have a part to play, each and every one of us. The first part is to break the law.
Right.
That'll be one of the
Yeah.
first things I would
Yeah.
think, is the role of the public in law enforcement. But what else is important for us to be aware of?
So, don't break the law. Simple.
Simple.
Sounds simple.
Sounds simple. But also, apart from don't break the law, we have persons who will break the law.
Right.
That's a fact. It's a nature of human. And so when we look at the role of the public in law enforcement, we look at the role of the public in assisting where crime reduction is concerned in terms of being some eyes and some ears out there for the police. So we say to the public, if you see something, say something. And so sometimes persons want to know, well, what does this really mean in the whole scheme of things when we are seeing, some high levels of crime in particular areas. So we acknowledge that the fight against crime is not just a police perspective only or policing only. We understand that it is both the police and the community, or the police and the public. So we want, in order to be able to effectively reduce crime and the fear of crime, to get that partnership, which we maintain, we must have in order for that fear reduction to be really realized in the way that we want it to be. So for example, you have in a particular area, you have neighborhood watch groups, where you have that connectivity and partnership with the community and the police. You find that persons who want to do crime and criminal activities will stay away. So you'll find where it have police, community policing groups or neighborhood watch groups partner with the police, you have a low level of crime in that area, almost nil. So we have things like that. It increases the relationship with the police and a reduction in crime. For example, too, where you have CPTED, which is crime prevention through environmental design.
Right.
And you have that, you have it through the police, and you have it through ministries as well, like Ministry of Social Development, Community Development, you have it. And so those things enable or empower residents, people, to do things that will help them not to be a target at your home and in going out and coming in your vehicles and that kind of thing. So it will give you safety tips and proactive measures of what not to do. And so when you look at the role of the police and law enforcement, it means that you have a responsibility to play, a serious responsibility in reduction of crime and in fighting crime. Although the police do reactive, and in cases proactive, we want more proactive involvement from both the members of the public in the partnership with the police.
Inspector, I guess I'll play devil's advocate today. Well, first, because I know you have one waiting as well.
And he's
so,
always.
Listen, so, yes, we understand. See something, say something. Call the police, reach out. Public has a part to play in that kind of thing. But when do we draw the line with saying, okay, cool, I have my part to play as well, but the police as well need to be a bit more proactive with what they're doing? Because it can't always be a reactive situation. That's one. And two, yes, you all have been touting tips for a long time, 800 tips, right?
Right.
But what is to say that I would not be compromised by calling a hotline number in the event I have to tip off the police of something happening in my area?
Right, so you mentioned the reactive and proactive at some level. So what the police rely on a lot as well is mobilized patrols and having a lot of that outside and rapid response. And that will help in terms of solving crime and, of course, arresting those who would have perpetrated or committed a crime. We use 800 tips and 555 because they are anonymous. And we encourage persons to call and utilize those numbers because, of course, it is anonymous. And we have seen the results, the benefits of it. You would see persons getting rewards. They would publicize it at some point in time. So persons would get that kind of assurance that your name is not being utilized. It is not run by the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service 555. So it is not something that persons can say, it is all and sundry. Within the organization, of course, within the organization, you have the different ranks and file of the police service. And so, for example, we understand that at some point we do have rogue officers. We are not denying that. But we also have officers that are upstanding, who are committed, who are law-abiding, and who are doing the right thing. And we need to also push that. So when our persons in the community recognize that, okay, this officer maybe, there are several other officers there that you can reach out to who can assist you. And that is one of the things that we want to promote. Yes, we do have, but we also have. And so in reaching to those officers, you want to give some information in a confidential way, you can do so.
But how do I know in advance? How do I know if it's because Inspector, you just mentioned that they have rogue ones, right?
Yes.
So I want to paint a picture for you, right? I see a crime happen, or I know somebody who in crime, right? And I see a bunch of police officers rolling in a van, and I say, hey, officer, that man just thing and run on the road there, and I know he's a man with whoever. And let's just say this happens to be one of the rogue officers that I'm talking to. And they now rough me up and put me one side. Right? How do I now feel comfortable coming back to the police? How do I know which officers to go to?
That's a very good question, because generally when police persons see the uniform carries a level of trust and authority. And unfortunately, in some cases, some persons have broken that trust, right? So that is something that internally we are treating with. But if we don't have persons that come forward to help and to say certain things, then we really wouldn't, as a community and as a nation, we will not grow. To say that because, okay, you would have said something to an officer and an officer
beats you up,
abuses you verbally.
No, physically sometimes.
Physically?
Yes, I have seen it. Okay, I have seen people being physically abused by the police.
For sharing information?
For anything. For walking down the road the wrong way because they assume something about them.
Okay, so remember you brought a scenario in that picture.
I did.
Right? And we're taking a scenario in context with what we, right?
All right, so let's in that same scenario, let's say the officer happens to be attached to whatever, because we've heard stories of officers running drug blocks and all kind of things, right? And let me say that happened to be he block that he was running, and I gone to inform on he to himself, right? Like himself told himself. And he turned around now and does violently abuse me. What do I do then?
All right, so you are suggesting or you are saying that the violence might be directly or indirectly, maybe at the point in time or some other time in the past, right? So what we encourage persons to do is to build a relationship with the police. And that is one of the things that we, even in our strategic plan 2020 to 2024, stakeholders partnership, community partnership, so that when you get to know the officers in your community, you know who to go to, you know who to trust more than the average. Because from time to time in a division, we have transfers taking place. And when transfer takes place, the person that you may have known as the person who you say, and we're talking about whatever situation here that you have just draw a relation to, that person may no longer be there, or that person may not be no longer in that station or division or section, as the case may be, because the police service, we do transfers on a regular basis. So that if that may be the situation that you are bringing to the fore, then there are always senior officers. One of the things that we must appreciate is that proactive policing works. And proactive policing only works with the community involvement. It can only work with you helping. We will react, which is not always best. So you will get, probably you will get a higher solvability rate, but it doesn't mean that the crime may not happen. So when someone, for example, is going to commit a murder, they don't go on and broadcast it and say, everybody, I'm going to do this. They will do it in the still of the night.
Not yet. Give it some time. The way
still of the night, when everybody is sleeping or there's no one around to be a witness. So when we have persons who are also eyes and watching, they will think twice about doing that. One of the things that is helping us is the CCTV cameras system, where persons who have it in their private spaces, they dwell in houses and things like that, are able to assist us with that kind of data to be able to solve, and we are seeing an increased rate in homicide solvability rate in Trinidad and Tobago as a result of those kind of technologies that is assisting us. And that is because of the partnership that we have with the community. So the role of the public is really, really important in Trinidad and Tobago, and to having that public safety and security that we really, really do want.
I wanted to just piggyback off of Ruckus's question, because I'm also wondering as well. So you see this thing happening in the Mofa police station. Can you go to the Belmont police station and make a report, or should you stay in Mofa? Will that be one of the ways that you can work around the situation of kind of weeding out those rogue police officers?
Yes, so we have, you can make a report at any station throughout Trinidad and Tobago, but even within a division, because that's Mova Station is one station in Northeastern Division.
Okay.
And over Northeastern Division, you will have an ASV, Assistant Superintendent, a Senior Superintendent, and then a Senior Super in charge. And so for division, even though you may not go to that station, district in particular, there's a senior officer who may not even be located at that station, but would be very aware and who will be able to intervene in a matter.
Okay.
So that the public support and the public's involvement and the public's partnership in relation to law enforcement is crucial to Trinidad and Tobago.
And I agree. I think of the situation that occurred recently down in, what was that, Rich Plain?
Which one?
Yeah, where the community stood up and said, no, we're not giving you this person that you want, even though you're the police,
yes.
because what we saw was wrong.
Yeah.
And we see how that and it turned into this big spiral thing, and it reached all the way to the top, where threats were made to the public and to our whole community, but it turns out that the community turned out to be correct after the investigations happened. So that shows that the power of the community standing up, even if they have to stand up to the rogue officers, as the case may be, to say, well, this is the right thing. And it can work in the same way for the negative elements in the community. They can stand up to the negative elements and say, we don't want this here. Stop doing this.
Right, so in the Rich Plain matter, which we know is under investigation, is nothing that I can talk at length about because of the fact that it is under investigation. We know what came out in the public, and persons have their personal opinion in relation to that matter, right? But separate and apart from that, where you stand up for something that is right, you will have the support of the police. Where you stand up for something that is right, you will have the support of the police. And more so, I mean, generally speaking, once you stand up for something right, you will have the support, because that's what the police do. We have laws and we are guided by the laws.
But
and
even
so,
if it's against the police?
Well, okay, so perhaps what you may want to say, because we would have said it earlier on, that sometimes there's a misperception or misunderstanding in relation to a matter. And so when the matter is thoroughly investigated or fleshed out, you would realize, and that's why investigations take place. And so in an investigation, it ought to say who is right and who is wrong in a matter. That is objective policing investigation.
Inspector, I also want to ask the role of the app in this. Can you use the app to report a crime, or is that something else?
No, we still have the app. You can use the app to report a crime. Of course, 555-999-800-TIPS. And persons can, call anonymously, still do that, and just make a report. For example, in an organization, just say in an organization, everybody knows a PBX, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, they can call from an organization and have 1 million or 1 cell number. Nobody really know who made that call. I'm just saying.
Block your cell number and call.
I'm saying.
So you have options.
You have options.
Yes.
You have options.
The call. And stay anonymous.
Yes, and stay anonymous. So if you see something, say something. Dial 999-555-800-TIPS.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Inspector Lewis, for joining us. Before we go, though, I wanted to say congratulations to the TTPS and especially the audiovisual unit. I got an opportunity to see
Code 727.
Code 727.
Oh, yes, you mentioned that last
and
week,
it was fantastic. It was a job well done, well put together, and it was nice to see the perspective of the TTPS when it comes to that 1990 attempted coup that took place in Trinidad and Tobago. It was very... it was different from the other perspectives that I've seen or heard of before, and I appreciated their perspective because it made the picture, a little bit wider. Yes, I might have been alive, but I wasn't coherent enough to know what was going on. And most of us wouldn't have been anywhere near the actual action to know what was going on. So the officers who took part in that documentary, good morning to you, and thank you so much.
Yes.
I'm yet to see it, but it's on the list.
We make it up. Inspector will tell you when next to show, and we go find it. Yeah, put it up in the or something.
We had the interviews of all the persons who were affected, those who were there,
the living
actually
ones.
worked. And it was really, it was a really, really, really telling interview, really live. And at some point you cry.
Yeah, they have moments. They have moments that kind of hold you, and you'll be like, all right, hold on, we have to keep this together. We can make it through the rest of this.
Couple Diaz, Constable Allen, and the team, they really did a really, really fantastic job going and finding and doing the data, doing the research, and getting all that information and putting it in.
One of the things that stood out to me the most was one of the SRPs says this is the first time in 30 years that anybody has spoken to him about the coup. Anybody. For that documentary. And when he started to cry, and you see all the emotion, all the trauma, everything just coming back to the front. First time he said in 30 years anybody spoke to him about it.
You see, recording it is something, eh? And trauma is deep.
Yeah.
And it just brought back. And when they started to picture it, and then everybody pieces just start to connect.
Yes.
So you realize.
So you get a full picture.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well done. Great storytelling, if I do say so. Thank you so much, Inspector, for joining us this morning. Yes, I'll leave it Inspector with chills this morning. We're going to take a break. Let Inspector catch yourself.
Yeah.
And we come back with more on the Now Morning Show. Stay tuned.
Let's say thanks to the police all around, especially in town. No one couldn't walk alone. Town was like a battle zone, but nowadays and so.
Oh, I've got this feeling to high-five the sun, dance in the rain, and have my scoop of fun. I'm on my way to flavor my day with something new, and I've got room for you. Let loose and live a little, get close and share a little, give in and taste a little. You'll fall in love with Creamery novelties. Love life and live a little, get close and share a little, give in and taste a little. You'll fall in love with Creamery novelties.
Enjoy new Creamery novelties. Live a little.
Trinidad and Tobago, since we first met, you knew it was love at first sight. We value and cherish the same things. We promised you the country's widest and most affordable mobile network, and we've kept that promise to you, our greatest supporter. We've grown your trust by ensuring you're always connected. From TNT's first fiber to the home network, to true 4G LTE connectivity nationwide, and all for you. No matter how far you roam, no matter how you choose to be connected, Digicel is always close by, building a foundation, or even when it's just to say,
What's he saying? You put on real weed, boy.
I am so proud of you.
as our network has grown, so has our offering to you, and we've always invested in you. That's why our greatest achievement will always be you, our customer. Digicel, we're better together.
The Atlantic hurricane season is here. Are you prepared?
Here's some terminology which may be frequently used and their meanings. Tropical depression, a cyclone system with definite counterclockwise wind circulation with maximum sustained winds of less than 38 miles per hour or 61 kilometers per hour. Tropical disturbance, a weather system which gives rise to a specific area of cloudiness with embedded showers and thunder showers and which sustains itself for 24 hours or more. Tropical storm, a cyclone system with maximum sustained winds greater than 38 miles per hour or 61 kilometers per hour, but less than 74 miles per hour or 119 kilometers per hour. This message courtesy TTT Limited.
Happy birthday to you if you're celebrating your birthday today, 6 minutes after 7 o'clock, and we thank you so much for being here with us in the Now Morning Show. I think I have some birthdays this morning.
I think we'll have some belated and all kind of things.
It has birthdays to make up for from since last week.
Yes.
I don't know if I prepared to make up for all from last week. Sorry, but let me start with today.
Yes.
Today, I want to say happy birthday going out to Siobhan Church Isaacs, a.k.a. Lil Bits. She celebrates her birthday today.
Very nice.
So, Bitsy, happy birthday to you.
Happy
Hope you have a great day.
Bits. Ooh,
she dropped a brand new song
the
just
picture.
the other day, actually.
Yeah.
Something about mass. But
Love
Sweetest
this
Mass.
picture.
Sweetest Mass is the name of it. So
Yes.
happy birthday, Siobhan.
Happy birthday, Bitsy.
Hope you have a great day today. Let me also say happy birthday going out to Adana, who celebrates her birthday today. Adana, hope you have a great day today and you're able to enjoy it to the fullest, whatever you decide to do.
Yes, yes, yes.
Coming from your entire family, everybody. So happy birthday, Adana. Big up you.
I don't have any birthdays today, but I have belated birthdays. So I'm going to start with Andy Salandi. Andy would have celebrated his birthday on the 29th of October. Andy, happy belated birthday to you. I know you had an amazing time, so happy belated birthday to you. I'm also going to say happy birthday to a close friend. We actually share a surname, but we're not related. Dixie
Michael D'Souza.
No, Dixie Ann. Dixie Ann D'Souza should have celebrated her birthday on October 28th, so happy belated birthday to you as well, Dixie Ann. I also want to say happy birthday going out to our Education Minister, Dr. Nian Gatsby Dolly, who celebrated her birthday over the weekend. Happy birthday to you, Dr. Dolly. She had up a nice picture where she had her family and friends over, so she was in her zone. Happy belated birthday goes out to you, Dr. Dolly. I also want to say happy birthday, Rockers, too. Well, happy rest in peace birthday.
Okay.
And I say it like that because we're saying happy birthday going out to Dion Lando, who would have been 30
yes.
Had he been alive on October 28th. And so rest in peace, sleep in peace, that kind of thing. But we remember you because you would have celebrated your big 3-0 on the 28th of October this year. I know that, and we don't have the video, unfortunately. Jareem Richards would have done a really touching video, a tribute video for him. And I was listening to him, and I think actually Dion Lando was one of his mentors, training him and teaching him as he was also becoming a track and field star. So, of course, condolences still go out to the family of Dion Lando. Remember, we would have lost him, I think it was last year or this year, earlier this year, I can't remember, but I know we would have lost him. And so, sleep in peace. We do miss you, but I know that everybody that you would have mentored, Dion, they're doing so well, and they remember you all the time. And so we remember you on what would have been your 30th birthday on October 28th.
Also on October 29th, I got a message to do a birthday shout, but unfortunately, in Tobago, we didn't really have the birthday segment as much. So let me say a happy birthday going out to Khalif. He, I didn't put the age. Unfortunately. But happy birthday, Khalif, coming from Auntie Renee and the entire family, your mom Khalifa and everybody. Wishing you a happy belated birthday at this point. I hope that you were able to have a great day. And also to Patsy, coming from Auntie Anne and Cousin Rennie.
Okay.
Right? So happy birthday to Auntie Patsy as well. Happy birthday to Khalif and everybody else who would have celebrated over the last few days.
Yeah, boy.
Sorry, we didn't get to do
we weren't in studio, but we were doing the needful. Well, and I say we, but I mean the entire Now Morning Show team. We were doing the needful. We were doing the needful. I mean, we can't be the home of local and live for local and culture and not, follow the amazing culture that we saw unfolding over the past few days.
Speaking of which, can I tell you one of the highlights of that weekend for me of Tobago?
Tell me.
I mean, yes, the Now Morning Show was fantastic.
Yeah.
The first thing I attended was the Pavement Lime,
right?
Which was off the chain.
Listen,
off the chain.
I heard police block the road. We blocked the road. Police had to divert traffic.
Well,
I heard there was a scene.
We properly sectioned off the road.
I heard Iowa George was in the middle of the road and he's singing to the people, and I heard there was a scene.
Everybody. Showen gave a fantastic performance. Everybody had a great time. The next team really showed up and they showed out and had a fantastic display of our culture, our music, our party lifestyle, everything. They had a good time at the Pavement Line. But the highlight for me was on Friday night at the Pan and Powder. It took place down in Scarborough. It wasn't one of the more covered events as far as the media concerned, but boy, oh boy, was it vibesy.
Yeah.
It was nice. They had a whole bunch of bands that would have been parading down the road. So I don't want to call all the names because I will forget some, but I will try. Cats and Jammers was there. Dixieland was there. Massey All Stars was there.
Yeah.
And they had two others that I don't remember the names and they will kill me for that. But it's all right.
But it was vibes.
Yeah, it was about five or six trucks coming down the road.
Wow.
And then they came down by the Esplanade and everything and came around. I don't remember the name of the road. But when they came back, they stopped at a venue, at like a yard. And they had three pan sites set up there. Panthers, do you remember the second one? And then BP Renegades. And it was another setup like playing, and it was fantastic. And that was when I realized, you know, it was a proper Big Sawati event. I didn't realize it was a Big Sawati event all the time. I thinking everybody just there to enjoy the thing. I see Minister by Sue.
Yes.
But here, the most embarrassing thing happened to me, Kimberly.
Auntie.
So I in the thing, right? I end up by the VIP tent because I realized I say I know people in this, so I went by the VIP tent, and you know, I like men saying hellos and whatnot. And this lady, lovely lady, comes up to me and tells me she watches the morning show and she really enjoys and da. So we stand up by a cocktail table, so it's me and another lady standing there. The other lady's chiming in every so often, and she, you know, and then we all end up in a conversation, and the other lady says, you know, I know you, we've met already, da. I said, well, girl, is no water drinking, and you had to forgive me this evening. I said, well, remind me your name now. She looks at me and she says, Bridget Anissa George.
No.
Watch now. My whole soul left my body. You know?
No.
Talk about shame.
No.
You talk about shame.
No.
Jeez and ages. But I would admit she looks very different without the wig and the gown. Yeah? So, in my defense, good morning.
Bridget, as in
morning,
Speaker of
madam.
the House.
Good morning, Madam Speaker. Good morning.
Member for City Valley. Bad conduct, poor conduct of you. You are going straight out.
Good morning, Madam Speaker.
Put you on the chamber for that.
You understand? But big up to everybody who was at the Pan and Powder.
Yes.
A fantastic time was had, and I definitely think that, you know, it was one of the events I appreciated the most out of the entire weekend. So I know people had their high points.
Yeah.
But either way, it was a fantastic weekend for culture, for carnival, for bacchanal, and of course for rain.
Juve was a scene when we come back.
Yeah, when we come back, we'll talk about the Juve and all that other good stuff. We still have a lot to talk about from Tobago Carnival. Stay tuned. It's in our morning show.
Feel better, Mom.
Panadol Multi-Symptom. Relief in minutes. 7 cold and flu symptoms. Panadol Multi-Symptom. A dose of efficacy and care.
For cold and flu symptoms, Panadol. Relief always by your side.
Calling all micro and small business owners, including Maxi and taxi drivers. Get to know Nedco. Now is the time to reduce your cost by getting the CNG Eco Driver Loan from Nedco. Contact Nedco today and start the switch to CNG to save big on your fuel bill. Quick approval, low monthly installment. For more details, contact our branch nearest to you or visit nedco.gov.tt or our Facebook account for details. Normal lending criteria apply. The National Entrepreneurship Development Company Limited. Nedco. Supporting, sustaining, succeeding. An agency of the Ministry of Youth Development and National Service.
The best birthday gifts are at thebesttoys.com. Shop for the best brands you love at the best prices. Like VTech, Leapfrog, Fisher Price, Play-Doh, Hot Wheels, Barbie, Cocomelon, LOL, Baby Alive, Crayola, Lego, Nerf, and remote control vehicle, kids learning desks, and educational toys. Ride-ons, bikes, drones, science toys, and board games and puzzles, and a wide range of baby items. We also have the best devices for school, like laptops, the Amazon Fire 7 tablet, the Amazon Fire 8, 10, and Kids Edition tab, as well as cases and accessories.
Visit us on the first floor of Movietown, Port of Spain, or Horses flagship McBean. Or shop online now at thebesttoys.com. No credit card required. Free delivery throughout Trinidad and Tobago on orders over $400. Cash or links on delivery. Order via call or WhatsApp 32DBEST. And remember, we have D-Best toys at the best prices.
TTT News, online and fully interactive. Follow us on social media at TTT Live Online.
TTT wants to hear from you. What would you like to see? Join our online survey and tell us. Click on ttt.live/survey or scan the QR code on the screen to provide feedback on our television programming. We can't wait to hear from you.
It's now 16 minutes after the hour of 7 o'clock. Welcome back to the Now Morning Show. Now, the Caribbean Export Development Agency, in collaboration with the government of Trinidad and Tobago, the CARICOM Secretariat, the Caribbean Development Bank, the Caribbean Association of Investment Promotion Agencies, and with support from the European Union, is convening the Caribbean Investment Forum from November 8th to 11th. With me to talk more about this is Manager Competitiveness and Export Promotion at Caribbean Export, Dr. Demi Sinanan, and Vice President Investments at InvestTT, Mrs. Pramila Ramdani. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on Now.
Good morning. Good morning.
Dr. Sinanan, I'm going to start with you first. What is the Caribbean Investment Forum?
Well, thank you very much, Kimberly, for having us on the show this morning. The Caribbean Investment Forum is quite literally the largest gathering of business persons in the Caribbean region since the COVID-19 pandemic, so since 2018. It is really our goal to have private sector persons from not only around the region, but investors from around the globe coming together in Port of Spain next week from the 8th to the 11th of November to come together to try to do business and attract foreign direct investment into the Caribbean region. That is really the point and the purpose of the Caribbean Investment Forum.
Right. Now, as a region, we have seen some of the benefits of having those European investments coming. And I think one of the most recent would have been that influx of the investment into Jamaica. But I'm also wondering, do you see more opportunities for the Caribbean from the European markets or even from other parts of the globe?
Oh, absolutely. The Caribbean region has a number of competitive advantages. I mean, we have a highly educated population and a highly educated and skilled and capable workforce. We have stable political climates. We're in a conducive time zone. We have a number of scenic beauty. We have our culture. We have our people. So we have a number of competitive advantages that can attract foreign direct investors and investment into the region. And what you saw in Jamaica is just one such area. So, for example, the hotel and the tourism projects. But we also see potential in other sectors. So, for example, the renewable energy sector, the digital business sector. The Caribbean region has so much to offer in these areas. And we think that investors, not only from Europe, but investors from the USA, from Latin America, from the Middle East, from Asia, can take advantage and come to the region and take advantage of these investment projects and build areas that not only are profitable for them, but also contributes to the resilience and the transformation of the Caribbean region. So there are a number of examples that we can highlight and a number of examples that we hope can result from the Caribbean Investment Forum.
Yeah. Now, Mrs. Ramdani, I'm going to bring you in here because I know that Dr. Sinanan gave us an overview of the region, but as it relates to TNT specifically, do you think there are certain areas that need the investment?
Oh, absolutely. The key areas that the Caribbean Investment Forum is focusing on really resonates with some of the investment opportunities that we are looking for in Trinidad and Tobago. As an example, agri-tech. That is a focus for Trinidad and Tobago as well as the rest of the Caribbean region. Logistics, transport, distribution, those are key areas that we are looking for investment opportunities in Trinidad and Tobago, as well as digitization and technology. So definitely the areas and the opportunities within the Caribbean Investment Forum resonates specifically to Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah. Now, I'm going back to you, Dr. Sinanan, only because we are seeing that Trinidad is ripe for investment. But I'm just wondering, how do you think the crime factor is going to affect us when foreigners look to invest here locally?
Well, I mean, we are conscious of the crime situation in Trinidad and Tobago. One of my colleagues, Dr. Roger Hussain, who's a mentor of mine, actually, mentioned that in an interview that I saw, that, the crime can affect foreign direct investment. Unfortunately, that is certainly the case, but we have to remember too, crime, even though it may be a problem, or it is a problem in Trinidad and Tobago, and not only Trinidad and Tobago, but other countries in the region and other countries around the world, investors really seek areas that they can be profitable in. So if we can continue to push our competitive advantages and the areas that, we have that competitive advantage in, and push the projects and make it attractive for investors, I see us still being able to take strong advantage of opportunities that we can exploit. So again, it's all about pushing what makes us unique, pushing the areas that we want to go, and at the same time trying to work on the problems and the issues that we have. And let's not be mistaken. Many countries around the region are attracting foreign direct investment, and they have their own internal struggles as well. There's no country or there's no market that's a utopia for investors. Every market has issues that they face. What is important is that we continue to focus on the positives and try to negate the negatives as much as possible.
Nice. Now, switching gears to the CIF, can you tell us exactly when it's going to be? And, what has the general response been like, and who is this really for?
Well, let me start with the last question first, Kimberly. This really is for business persons. We've hosted a number of investment forums in the past, and I'm talking about pre-COVID, where we have, a lot of speeches and a lot of promises and a lot of political, machinations. This really is a conference and a forum for business persons. So we expect, as I noted, to start with the largest collection of private sector persons who have come together since the COVID-19 pandemic. Because we recognize that once you have business persons and you put them in a room together, and you put them in a room with willing, vetted investors, then good things can happen. They will come together and they will find a way to do business. And whether that is extra-regional investors or even intra-regional investors as well, or even persons who are attending the forum, they can come together and they can do business deals together that can result in not only investment, but trade and exports.
Yeah.
So really, the purpose of this forum is really for the business person, bringing them together and seeing what can happen when you bring business persons together. Yeah. And I would encourage persons, when you attend, you will have access to over 400 contemporaries who will be in the room together, who are all eager and willing to do business with one another.
And in terms of the interest level, has it been positive thus far?
Absolutely. We've been marketing this forum for the last 2 months, and you have your marketing metrics. So, for example, website visits, registrations. To date, we have over 375 confirmed registrations. And we have 1 week to go. And we know sometimes Caribbean persons like to wait until the last minute to register. So we're hoping to double that number by the end of the week.
Of course.
We had a launch event that took place about a month ago. And we had over 500 persons register for that launch. And we had it was an online launch. And of that 500 persons, actually 350 persons actually attended the launch, which for many of us who have done webinars over the COVID-19 pandemic know that that is a very good percentage. So by every metric that we have put together, we recognize that even our sponsors who have come on board have been eager and willing, and they've jumped on board because they recognize the value of a conference like this. Yeah. So we're seeing interest be very strong. We're seeing persons coming into Trinidad and Tobago from countries as far as India, the Middle East, Brazil. So the interest has been extremely strong, but we want to continue to push because we recognize that this forum has a lot to offer the business person to help them build their businesses.
Yeah. Mrs. Ramdhani, I'm going to bring you back in because I was just wondering, given the state of the global economy, so for example, we have the pandemic, we're now coming out of the pandemic, we would have heard monkeypox happening for a while. Exports are expensive, that sort of thing. Why do you think Trinidad is a good place for investors to look at when they're thinking about investing?
Thanks very much, Kimberly. As Dr. Sinanan mentioned, this will be one of the largest live convening of investors, entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and Trinidad and Tobago is very, very proud to host this. Trinidad and Tobago offers several competitive advantages for the investors. And during our COVID period as well, we hosted at InvestTT several virtual events, but this will be the first live event. And I also want to mention that even though during the COVID period, we hosted several live events, we were still wooing investors into Trinidad and Tobago. Our foreign investments actually that we brought into Trinidad and Tobago almost tripled during that period. So we are looking at Trinidad and we are looking, as we're hosting this live event, to also have that record again in 2023. Trinidad and Tobago offers several competitive advantages, and these were already outlined by Dr. Sinanan. Our workforce, our highly talented and skilled workforce in Trinidad and Tobago, our fiber optics, our connectivity in Trinidad and Tobago, and also investors are looking for nearshoring opportunities. We have seen an increase in interest from the BPO sector abroad. They're looking to the Caribbean for nearshoring opportunities. We're also seeing manufacturing opportunities. We also have several different industrial parks in Trinidad and Tobago, and this includes our Phoenix Park Industrial Estate. And as you know, it is one of the 5G industrial parks, one of the largest 5G industrial parks that is in the Caribbean and Latin America, and the only 5G industrial park in the Caribbean. So we're hoping as well at the Caribbean Investment Forum to host several site visits and tours to these industrial parks at the ETEC Tamina Intech Park, at the Moruga Agro-Processing Park, at the Phoenix Park Industrial Parks. And we're hoping that again, we'll be able to amplify the opportunities within these industrial parks in manufacturing, in logistics and distribution, in ICT, to our foreign investors who are very, very interested in looking at these nearshoring opportunities.
Yeah. And in terms of the, now I know you would have been mentioning, of course, the advantages, but this CIF is being put on by a host of different companies and agencies. I was just thinking about InvestTT's role in the entire forum.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, it is being hosted by CEDA, as represented by Dr. Sinanan, as well as the European Union delegation to Trinidad and Tobago, and about 13 IPAs, 13 investment promotion agencies across the Caribbean. And Trinidad and Tobago is very fortunate to host this. And as a result, we'll be offering several sessions, several unique opportunities to our investors who are traveling from several countries around the world, one of which will be, as I mentioned earlier, site visits and tours. So we'll be hosting those. The event itself is being held at Hyatt Hotel. So we'll also be offering panel discussions, co-hosting those panel discussions with India Exim Bank. We'll also be hosting an exhibition booth at the live event, as well as matchmaking and hosting B2B sessions with investors. We'll also be promoting a virtual guide and updating our virtual guide to investing in Trinidad and Tobago. So there are several opportunities that we are taking a key role in at InvestTT to welcome our neighboring IPAs, as well as the investors that are coming into Trinidad and Tobago. Of course, our Prime Minister, our Prime Minister will also be hosting the second day of the event. He will be also speaking, as well as our Line Minister will also be speaking at the event. So we're integrating all of our government ministers, our entrepreneurial community, as well as our businesses in Trinidad and Tobago. It's a perfect opportunity for you to attend this event and also to meet with foreign investors into Trinidad and Tobago.
Of course. Now, Dr. Sinanan, I'm going to come back to you because I know that Mrs. Ramdhani gave us an overview, but I'm wondering in terms of the days. So it's from the 8th to 11th. Can you share some of these speakers that we're going to be seeing over this 4-day event?
Absolutely. Well, we start on the 8th with a welcome reception where we will showcase the culture of not only Trinidad and Tobago, but the culture of the Caribbean region as well, with some very, very good performers. So foreign direct investors who are coming in can really get a flavor and a taste for not only the region, but especially Trinidad and Tobago as the host country. Our featured speaker on day one is Secretary Excellency Wamkele Mene, who is the Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Area. He's going to really speak about the opportunities for partnerships and investments between the Caribbean region and Africa. we're sort of seeking to, and they're very willing to do business in the Caribbean. So we're using this conference as another step in continuing to build the bridge between Africa and the Caribbean for trade and investment. We have Dr. Nicholas Brafitt, who is the CEO of Celesta Capital, which is a Silicon Valley-based investment company that have done billions of US dollars in investment. And Dr. Brafitt is Grenadian by birth, and he actually wants to bring some of that capital into the Caribbean region. So he's going to be speaking about attracting partners and projects from the Caribbean region. We have a CEO's roundtable where we will see business leaders in the Caribbean region talk about how they do business in the Caribbean and how they invest Caribbean-wide. So we have Mr. Gilvey Warner, who is the CEO of Massey Group, who of course we know is one of the largest conglomerates in the Caribbean region. We have Nigel Batiste, Ms. Karen Yipchuk from Republic Bank Limited, Digicel, amongst all the speakers on that particular panel. We have an investor fireside chat where we have Stephen Snyder, who's the CEO of JetBlue Technologies, Dr. Ibukan Asekoa, and I apologize if I butchered her name. I'm a butcher as a hobby. And she's a Netflix producer and an investor. So these are just some of the speakers that we have, and that's just day one only. On day two, we have the different panels that are focused on the different sectors that we are pushing. So we have an agri-technology sector where we have companies from around the region who are talking about their investments in agri-technology. We have a session on renewable energy, again, where we talk about how we can attract renewable energy investments into the Caribbean region. Logistics, similarly for logistics and transportation, and also for digital business and ICT, because these sectors will, if we can get investments into these sectors, they can have a strong positive impact on the Caribbean region in building resilience, because that's really the theme of the conference, building a smarter Caribbean.
Yeah, and I know you have so much more to say, but I know that there's also the exhibition booth as well, and I know people can also get more information. But before we go, I was also thinking about the fact that this CIF, it seems as if you're focusing on new priority areas that can also kind of form or create that transformation. What was the main reason behind this?
Well, I mean, the COVID-19 pandemic, as we know, really impacted the Caribbean very, very hard. Not only Caribbean, but all countries around the globe. But even before the COVID-19 pandemic, the Caribbean region, we have to recognize that we are small economies and we are very vulnerable economies. And we have to do business differently. We can't continue to do business the same way, because if we continue to do business the same way, we're going to continue to be vulnerable and we're going to be at the mercy of the larger economies. So we have to build our resilience. And we see these sectors, these 4 specific areas, and there are many others, but at the same time, you have to be focused in your approach. We see these 4 sectors as really having a transformational impact in the Caribbean region. So if we can continue to build these sectors and encourage direct investment in these sectors and build the capacity of the entrepreneurs in these sectors, we really see it as having a real impact, a transformational impact on the Caribbean region in terms of building a smarter, greener Caribbean that can withstand better the foreign shocks that can really affect us, that we've seen in the past and we've seen over the last 2 years. It's about doing business differently, doing business smarter, and trying to build our resilience in the Caribbean region. So that's really the focus and theme of the conference.
Of course. And Doctor, before you go, just tell us when it's happening, where it's happening, and where we can go to get more information.
It's happening November 8th to the 11th, and the 8th is the opening ceremony. So the main conference is really 9th to the 11th at the Hyatt Regency Hotel in Trinidad and Tobago. Log on to our website, www.caribbeaninvestmentforum.com, where you can get more information, see our speaker profiles, see our agenda, and also purchase tickets to attend. www.caribbeaninvestmentforum.com.
Now, Doc, one more question. While this is taking place as a live event in TNT, is there any way that a foreign investor can log on online, or is it that you want them to come here to attend the forum?
We want them to come we want them to come to the forum. I mean, like I said, it's the largest gathering. The COVID-19 pandemic, we're trying to it's still around, but we're trying to put it behind us. We want this to be the largest live gathering of business persons in the Caribbean region. So we encourage everyone, come to Trinidad and Tobago. I know it's 1 week away, but it'll really be worth it.
Nice. And Mrs. Ramdhani, finally, any closing thoughts before we go?
Yeah, I'd like to again amplify what Dr. Sinanan said. It is going to be the largest convening of investors in the Caribbean, in Trinidad and Tobago during that week. And we do encourage everyone to attend. Seats are still available, tickets are still available, and please log on to www.caribbeaninvestmentforum.com.
Nice. Well, Mrs. Ramdhani, Dr. Sinanan, thank you so much for coming on the show. All the best with the event. As you mentioned, Dr. Sinanan is like 1 week away, so all the best with the forum. And I do hope you see all that foreign investment come in, and there can also be a follow-through as we look forward to get our economy back on track. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Of course. And we were just talking about the Caribbean Investment Forum that's taking place from November 8th to the 11th at the Hyatt Regency Hotel. Stay tuned, because after the break, we are going to be taking your phone calls. That's right. Did you go across to Tobago? Were you battling the weather? We want to hear from you. So when we come back from that break, we are going to be opening up our phone lines to hear from you. You're on the Now Morning Show. We're going to take a quick break and be right back. Stay with us.
You try with a federation, the whole thing end in confusion. CARICOM and then CARIFTA, but somehow...
Oh, I've got this feeling to high-five the sun, dance in the rain, and have my scoop of fun. I'm on my way to flavor my day with something new, and I've got room for you. Let loose and live a little, get close and share a little, give in and taste a little. You'll fall in love with Creamery novelties. Love life and live a little, get close and share a little, give in and taste a little. You'll fall in love with Creamery novelties.
Enjoy new Creamery novelties. Live a little.
Trinidad and Tobago, since we first met, you knew it was love at first sight. We value and cherish the same things. We promised you the country's widest and most affordable mobile network, and we've kept that promise to you, our greatest supporter. We've grown your trust by ensuring you're always connected. From TNT's first fiber to the home network, to true 4G LTE connectivity nationwide, and all for you. No matter how far you roam, no matter how you choose to be connected, Digicel is always close by, building a foundation, or even when it's just to say,
what's the scene? You put on real weed, boy.
I am so proud of you.
As our network has grown, so has our offering to you, and we've always invested in you. That's why our greatest achievement will always be you, our customer. Digicel, we're better together.
Calling all micro and small business owners, including maxi and taxi drivers. Get to know Nedco. Now is the time to reduce your cost by getting the CNG Eco Driver Loan from Nedco. Contact Nedco today and start the switch to CNG to save big on your fuel bill. Quick approval, low monthly installment. For more details, contact our branch nearest to you or visit nedco.gov.tt or our Facebook account for details. Normal lending criteria apply. The National Entrepreneurship Development Company Limited. Nedco. Supporting, sustaining, succeeding. An agency of the Ministry of Youth Development and National Service.
The event you've been waiting for.
Let me tell you about life.
Sungusha, Festival of Dance. We'll take you on a journey into the wild. Saturday, November 19th at Los Soledad, Maracas, St. Joseph. We bring to you Sungusha featuring Iowa George, KMC, Siggy Rankin, and of course, RKG.
Tell me she have nobody, but she says she will love.
For more ticket info, call the hotline at 681-3353-778-8646. This is Sungusha.
Have you ever experienced an unexpected power outage? The Office of Disaster Preparedness and Management has some important and simple tips to help you and your loved ones be better prepared for a power outage in the event of a disaster. 1. Ensure that you have candles and extra torch lights as alternate sources of lighting. 2. Keep fully charged power banks to recharge your devices. 3. Use hand-cranked radios to receive updates from official sources. 4. If possible, keep a power generator or AC inverter that can be connected to a car battery to use as an alternate source of power. 5. Ensure your grab-and-go bags and home emergency kits are packed and ready. The ODPM wants you and your loved ones to be better prepared. For more information, visit www.odpm.gov.tt. A message from the ODPM.
Celebrate Calypso History Month right here on the Now Morning Show. Of course, that's the sound of Baron there, one called Holding On. And I hope that you're holding on this morning. If you might have gotten off to a rough start of the day, if you had a rough weekend, I hope that you're able to get through it and hold on, because it's not easy all the time, but you definitely can do it. I have faith in you. We continue our conversation, our recap-ish.
Well, let's let some people join us. Remember, our phone lines are open right now, 622-4010 if you want to get in the conversation. If you were one of the people flying back home to Trinity yesterday because you know you had work this morning, if you participated in the Pretty Mass, if you went on the road, if you had mud, if you had job, let us know. 622-4010, our phone lines are now open.
There was a gentleman who, he said he come from country. He didn't tell me where in country, but he said he come from country to make sure that he catch us down on the Esplanade, because he's watching the show every morning and he's late for work every morning.
Please
so good
tell
morning
me
to you.
Gentleman's name.
No, you know me. You know, I'm clearly bad at names. That's what the one thing I'm going to take. I'm going to take away from this trip is that I'm bad at names. So,
yes.
Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning to you, sir. All right,
Thank you so much.
She's going to come back to Tobago again. Next time you see him, please remind him of your name. But good morning to you. So people came down to see you all.
Yes,
nice.
yes. Some people came down. There was a lady who came down. She actually ended up going in a hamper as well because she was partying, having a good time.
Nice.
Oh gosh, I had a name and nobody remember.
Oh my gosh, here we go.
So
good morning to that lady as well.
I ain't almost like you remember her name. I ain't was talking to her for a longer time than me.
I think we have a caller. Do we have a caller on the line? No?
Oh no, what we want
video.
On Thursday we had the pleasure of being able to make a toast to open the carnival of sorts.
Oh, that's sweet.
You know, courtesy Hadco. So we say thank you, of course, to Hadco, and I think we have a bit of the clip from when we opened the carnival with the toast on the Now Morning Show. It's bad luck for 7 years. You know what? Look by my eye. Look by my eye. No, oh, Jesus and Angel, she's horrible.
Tobago could find me. Why? There is no better time. Oh yeah, and we're doing it. Hey, doing it. Ha, living this life of mine. Oh yeah, and we're doing it. Yeah.
Moving to the left, hey, moving to the left, everybody. Moving to the right, boy. Moving to the left, everybody. Moving to the left, hey, moving to the left, everybody. Moving to the right, boy. Moving to the right. Turn it up, party time again. When that's all ready, and then we move to the left, everybody. Move to the left. Fucking nice and all right. We on what you steady. Stop the watch and fight. And then we move to the right, everybody. Move to the right. It's time for action and celebration. Just jump around and party.
Boy, Marvin Lewis there, down in Storby, taking us down memory lane for a little bit and definitely starting the party the right way.
Yeah.
It was absolutely a pleasure to have him on set. I had to shake his hand and bow before him like royalty and thing, because I was a little bit of a groupie, I can't lie.
We do
but we have Shagonas on the line. Good morning, Shagonas.
Good morning. How are you doing? Ruckus looking tired.
Girl, it was our weekend.
Yeah, no, I see you for Lantern. I just want to say good morning. Kimberly, you were in Tobago, girl?
I was in Tobago, but as Ruckus keeps saying, I went for pleasure. I didn't go for work.
All right. You and all that is rest. Where's the young girl?
Something.
Listen. Too much. Anyway, I just want to say good morning to you all. You look lovely and keep on doing a good job you all doing. I'd like to say good morning to all of Trinidad and Tobago and to leave a little note, no matter what you're facing every day, life goes on. God loves all you. God loves you.
Wow. Thanks so much, Shagonas. Have a good one.
The girls say we need sleep.
You understand? Like I can need sleep. I know Kathy Hedis. I I don't know what Shagonas is talking about. Kathy did her magic on me this morning. So Shagonas. Okay.
Shagonas is seeing through the Kathy.
Yeah. But that was nice, man. It looked like vibes.
Yeah. The morning show, definitely. I mean, we had a late start on both days, unfortunately, because of the weather. Things weren't working out as well as planned. But I definitely think that we were able to still get some fun in there and some great information as well. We spoke to the senior superintendent for Tobago, Mr. Junior Benjamin, I think is his name, and he was able to tell us about the plans going into the carnival and stuff. But we have Kuva on the line, so let's check in with Kuva and see how they're doing this morning. Good morning, Kuva.
Hey, morning, Ruckus.
How you doing?
How you going, Kuva?
I'm going good, man. I just tuned into you all there, and I hear that you would like to know the name of the woman who was on set. That's a classmate of mine.
Who won? Who won the hamper?
Yes.
What's her name?
Marlene.
Marlene was her name.
Marlene.
Yes. Good job. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kuva.
You're welcome.
Have a good one.
Take care.
Well, special good morning going on to Marlene now.
Yes, Marlene, big up you, girl.
Marlene, you're still buffing Ruckus, because Kuva help him out. But special good morning going out to you, Marlene. No.
Why you want me to get buff? Let me just go to Mova on the line that you want me to get buff.
Mova, good morning.
The panel, good morning, sir. Morning, ma'am.
Morning.
How you going, Mova?
It's Trinbago.
Oh, gosh. Trinbago Ruckus.
Miss World. Good morning.
Good morning, Mova. How you going?
I have won the banker because I plan to go since inception and money never come. I still hand money. And then they tell me I have to pay now to go on the boat. So then I still couldn't go up because I had no money. You understand me? So here now, I see commanding the forces, John McGill over there, and everybody was having a jolly good time, and that was great. Thumbs up to you guys. Good work. And you all know how to make people respond to goodness. And that is a blessing within itself, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
So, nice work, Mobile Lockdown, and the listening. Just call to commend you guys. I hope I could be there next time playing my big iron while all you're playing all your music. I want to do that.
You don't have the rhythm already. Yes, Mova, we love it.
Enjoy the day.
Yeah, man, you too. Take care.
No, I wanted to say, so people were complaining about the weather. It was bad, right? But the amazing thing happened on Saturday. Guess what? There was no rain for Juve. There was no rain for Juve. Everybody, the only thing was wet. Was the paint or the jab? There was no rain for Juve. And the mud was pretty wet, right? But Juve was nice. Juve was nice in Tobago, seeing everybody come out. I love the Grenadian contingent who came out with the jab and that kind of thing. As you had been talking about earlier, there were so many foreigners in the different bands and stuff. I mean, Juve was real nice. I know we were talking to Inspector as well. Normally for Juve, you would hear of instances of crime, and so thus far, we haven't heard any sort of, cases of crime for Tobago Carnival, whether it be Juve or Party or even Pretty Mas. So thumbs up to the police for that, and just the people for just keeping that real good energy. Man. You know
good
what I mean?
Vibes.
For the
Tobago
4 days.
Is love.
Yeah.
There's
the job. There's the
job. Good morning.
Jab, come out.
Good morning.
Morning, Laramin. How you doing?
I just calling to say morning to small girl. I insist on the show. She balancing too much.
Small girl coming back Wednesday, Laramin.
She'll be here on Wednesday, Laramin.
She did balance, but she's coming back on Wednesday.
I just called to say morning to the crew.
Yeah,
morning.
Man. Yeah. Morning. Thank you.
Have a good day, Laramin. Yeah, so we had some good weather on the Wednesday.
I mean, I can't lie, right? So after the pan, I went Bayview before the pan and all kind of thing, right? So by the time I reached home from pan, I tried to go vibes with Voicey, but it was a plenty to try and get inside of there. So I was like, nah, I'm going home. And I went and sleep, and I missed the whole Juve.
Yeah. The old man in here sneaking up. The old man in here sneaking up.
I need some more stamina before we go into Carnival 2023. El Socorro, good morning. Hello.
Hello.
El Socorro. Hi.
Morning.
There he is. Morning.
Yes. Morning.
How you
Talk
going?
to me. How you going?
Are you okay? First time calling in.
What? Hi, El Socorro. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, and Rockers, you are always seeing you around. Yes, you had a nice time in Tobago.
I try my best.
Yes, darling. I envy you when I see you really enjoying yourself.
He enjoyed for all of us, El Socorro. He enjoyed for all of us.
Yes, boy, all of us. It was real nice.
All right.
Yes. Okay,
Thank you.
then.
Have a
All
good
right,
one,
take care.
El
Enjoy
Socorro.
your day.
Yeah.
Me and you know both
Rockers
enjoy
to
for
see
all of
ya,
us because
you
you didn't
see.
enjoy yourself too, eh?
No, but I mean, you enjoyed for
Crime.
all of us.
Crime
and
will never
we
done.
appreciate that. You know, we really appreciate
Let
it.
me say good morning to Didi. She was our guest host for the 2 days in Tobago on Thursday and Friday.
Yeah.
She normally hosts a show called We Outside. I don't know if you watched it all the time, you would have seen it. And, you know, it was fantastic having her join us on the show, you know, to give a Tobagonian perspective, of course.
Yes, and people loved it. I saw the comments. They loved the mix of the TNT. Yeah,
Naturally. Don't mind, she kind of, she said Tobago and Trinidad. But it's all good. It's all good. It was nice vibes. It was nice vibes all around. You know, I think that's definitely one of the things that translated and that's why I think that even though the rain fell and all that, like the energy was positive. People were hopeful. People were positive about it. The Tobagonians that I knew who were in and around the festival, they were like, they wanted the best for it. Nobody was trying to cry it down or to make it. Yet they might have been logistical issues and challenges, and especially the rain didn't make any of that any better. So I know that next time it's definitely going to have a lot more planning going in.
Well, that's the thing. Next time it's going to be in October because remember that is the rainy season as well. So I think one of the things the organizers need to do right now is to just go back and do that post-mortem and decide exactly if this is an annual thing in October, if maybe sometime throughout the year.
I'll stick up in that and tell you what I think about it.
Williamsville. On the line, yes.
Williamsville, good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you guys?
So far, so good. How are you doing?
How are you going? I love the energy, Williamsville. Yes.
I just want to tell you how much we enjoy having breakfast with you guys every morning.
And it doesn't even share.
And my mom, Mr. Gloria Da, she's almost 87. She looks forward so much to having breakfast with you and my sister Joanne. Joanna and Rockers.
Aye, Joanna and Rockers.
Really enjoy your show and keep up the great work. Thank you
so much.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy your day.
Blessings. Bye.
Now, I want to dip it just for a little bit because I know we're almost out of time. We are saying condolences going out to Yusuf Ali. He was one of the greatest television news personalities. He also worked with TTT. He would have passed away last night in a hospital in London. So we're sending condolences going out to the Ali family. Mr. Yusuf Ali would have passed last night in London. Like I said, he would have worked at TTT. And so we're sending condolences to the family as well. He was one of the best television newscasters that ever graced the screens of TTT. Apparently, that's how people remembered him. So just condolences to the family of Mr. Ali.
Definitely. May he rest in peace.
Of course.
I was saying that, you know, one of the things that I saw, the comments that I saw, a few of the comments is that people saying about changing the date from October because it's obviously rainy season, right? And then I saw a very interesting comment that said, why not make it a rainy season carnival? And what does that mean? How can we explore the possibility of thinking outside of the box that we know carnival to be? So instead of trying to have all outdoor events, you could have an indoor event or two. You could have, you know, a water type event. You could have, you could base it around the time of the year that it is. Because I mean, the challenge that you would run into with moving it is that you end up competing with other carnivals around the world.
Other carnivals,
right? So I mean, I think there's a conversation to be explored. And I definitely encourage everybody who was a stakeholder in it to be able to go and do the postmortem and have your say and say, all right, this is what I think, and this is what I think, and collate all the information and get the data, especially now that we had the actual event and the festival. We could see how much tourists came in. You could see how much money was spent. Exactly. We can take a proper analysis now. And next year, can do a better version of the Tobago Carnival.
Let me just also mention as well, I didn't get to see Pretty Mass, but I heard that was a vibe as well down in Scarborough. It was amazing in Scarborough. So Pretty Mass, it came out and people had a real grand time. I know that they would have ended the celebration with fireworks, and so it was it really was a big event for festival. There we have a clip. Yes, that's what we're talking about. What I also noticed as well, Rockers, going back quickly to Juve. In Juve, they had traditional characters. So you saw the Moko Jambi and stuff. And even on the streets for Pretty Mass yesterday, there was the Midnight Rubber and a few others of the traditional carnival characters. So I
remember they were taking pains to make sure that they had some of those cultural references and make sure that cultural aspect of things was very, very strong in the carnival, and it wasn't just about party. You know what I mean?
They did it, and the
congratulations.
tourists seem to love it because I saw some pictures as well.
For sure.
So, I mean, Tobago Carnival, yes, there were challenges going into it, but I think coming out of it now, people who attended, they had a good time. And like we said, it's to go and do the postmortem now and see what works, what doesn't work, tailor it to really suit, you know, our people and our culture.
I have I don't know if they have the clip upstairs of the pan. I sent us a clip with somebody images from the pan.
Nice.
Because I know everybody's been seeing the Pretty Mass and there wasn't very much coverage of the actual pan event.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure that I took pains to capture my poor little phone.
There were so many events too. There was night mass, I believe, on Saturday night as well in Roxborough.
There was an attempt at it because it was completely rained out.
Yes. Oh, it was rained out.
Bungie was supposed to be the headline of it, but I saw I don't know if it actually got underway, but the images of it that I saw, the video. As up to this morning, I was seeing videos coming in with pouring rain. But here we have a little bit of the pan and what it looked like. And of course, it was a grand time had by everybody who was involved. So big up to all the panists, all the masqueraders, all the people who took part. And you know, like I said, I call out some of the names. I mentioned them. I remember them. But I want to encourage each and every one of you to go out there and make a difference today now, because of course together we aspire. And if together we perspire, then together we can achieve. Kimberly D'Souza, Rokas, wishing you a fantastic Monday. Please be safe. Remember to walk with your umbrellas. Remember to do not drive through floodwaters. And do not walk through, run through, jump over floodwaters. Find another way around. Some other way. Please be safe. We have pan to the top, I think. I hope.
Yes.
Give me the pan to the top now.
Are we going to get some rest? Who was that, Williams?
Yeah, we're going to sugar on us. We're going to sleep sugar on us.
We can do it now?
The best for your baby is at thebesttoys.com. From the best strollers, car seats, baby carriers, high chairs, booster seats, rockers, jumpers and bouncers, walkers, baby blankets, feeding accessories, bathtubs, gyms and playmats, playpens, cribs, baby swings, changing tables, diaper bags, clothing and accessories, and the widest range of educational toys. We carry Infantino, Dr. Brown, Avent, Graco, Chico, Fisher-Price, VTech, Leapfrog, Disney Baby, Delta Children, Medela, and Twist Shape.
Visit us on the first floor of Movietown, Port of Spain, or Forces flagship McBean. Or shop online now at thebesttoys.com. No credit card required. Free delivery throughout Trinidad and Tobago on orders over $400. Cash or links on delivery. Order via call or WhatsApp at 332-BABY. And remember, we have the best for your baby at the best prices.
Trinidad and Tobago, since we first met, you knew it was love at first sight. We value and cherish the same things. We promised you the country's widest and most affordable mobile network, and we've kept that promise to you, our greatest supporter. We've grown your trust by ensuring you're always connected. From TNT's first fiber to the home network, to true 4G LTE connectivity nationwide, and all for you. No matter how far you roam, no matter how you choose to be connected, Digicel is always close by, building a foundation, or even when it's just to say,
"What's he saying? You put on real weed, boy."
I am so proud of you.
As our network has grown, so has our offering to you, and we've always invested in you. That's why our greatest achievement will always be you, our customer. Digicel, we're better together.
Oh, I've got this feeling to high-five the sun, dance in the rain, and have my scoop of fun. I'm on my way to flavor my day with something new, and I've got room for you. Let loose and live a little, get close and share a little, give in and taste a little. You'll fall in love with Creamery novelties. Love life and live a little, get close and share a little, give in and taste a little. You'll fall in love with Creamery novelties.
Enjoy new Creamery novelties. Live a little.
Good morning. Welcome to TTT News. I am Roxanne Suraj, making the news at this time. The media fraternity mourns the passing of Yusuf Ali, a former television personality who was news director at the first incarnation of TTT. Ali passed away in a hospital in London where he resided after leaving TTT to assume the position at the Commonwealth Secretariat in London. Yusuf was described as a consummate professional who insisted on standards of excellence at all times. He leaves to mourn his wife, Diana, his children, Faiz and Lisa. Police are investigating the murder of a Santa Cruz man. According to reports, Nicholas Philip was shot and killed at his San Juan home sometime after 10 o'clock. Philip lived at Old Road. The murder toll now stands at 507 for the year so far. In other news, the Public Service Transport Company will be Trinidad and Tobago's mass transit system going forward. The statement by Minister of Works and Transport, Rohan Sinanan, during a retreat on Saturday for all divisions of his ministry. Minister Sinanan admitted that in its current form, PTSC will not attract the travelling public. He said PTSC does not have the fleet right now to service the routes that the population requires. He mentioned, though, that an additional 300 buses will be added to the fleet.
Will not attract the traveling population. We recognize that, and there are several factors for that. PTSC, one, PTSC does not have the fleet that is required right now to do the routes that the population requires us to do. The government have taken a decision to fix that problem where we're going out for a tender to increase the fleet. PTSC told us that they need 550 buses. They have just about 265 buses right now.
Minister Sinanan acknowledged that having buses alone will not solve the problems at PTSC. He said PTSC has to adopt a new approach to what is required if they have to attract the population to use their buses as the #1 alternative to transportation throughout Trinidad and Tobago. Minister Sinanan noted that in the 2023 budget, the PTSC received the funding for the development of its IT and technical assistance.
A whole change in terms of how you access buses using technology where you can track the buses and so. And then there are different aspects where PTSC customer service has to improve. Even the bus stations has to be more welcoming to the population.
And over to sport. The CG United Super 50 Cup bowled off on Saturday with a clash between the Leeward Islands Hurricanes and West Indies Academy, and it was a former youth standout schooling with the Academy bowling. We have more in this story.
The West Indies Academy was in early trouble as Jeremiah Lewis counted for the highly rated Teddy Bishop with the first ball of the day. His fellow opener, Kirk McKenzie, soon followed, courtesy Rakeem Cornwall, also for no score. But they recovered somewhat after that, with Kevin Wickham posting a top score of 44 and Keegan Simmons 43. They had a 68-run partnership, while Kevlon Anderson made 35 to contribute to the Academy's 190-for-9 in their 50 overs. The pick of the bowlers was the big man, Rakeem Cornwall, with 4 for 42 from 10. Kofi James chipped in with 2 for 35. The Leeward Islands start was also shaky, with the Bishop combination of Joshua and Teddy, no relation, taking out Devon Thomas and Kieran Powell to have them reeling at 2 for 23 in the 7th. Joshua also accounted for Karima Gore as they slipped to 3 for 27 by the 9th over. Then came Casey Carty, the 2016 Under-19 World Cup winner, came in to score a game-winning 103 not out in 120 balls with 10 fours and 2 sixes. The next best score was 23 from Terence Ward as they